On Saturday, former President Trump, amazingly, went back to Butler, Pennsylvania. It's really incredible to hold a rally 12 weeks after he was nearly assassinated to the day. Look at these shots of the huge crowd. According to Fox News, it was about 60,000 who showed up. The campaign used cranes to once again fly a massive American flag above the stage. When Mr. Trump took to the stage, he stood behind thick, bulletproof glass. At one point during his speech, he also welcomed Elon Musk to the stage. Look at him jumping up for joy. He was jumping around before telling the crowd he's, quote, dark MAGA, and saying he believes Trump must win to preserve the Constitution. Here are a couple of highlights from the night in SOT 1.
A big thank you to Pennsylvania. We love Pennsylvania. And as I was saying, get astronauts into space. Come here. Take over, Elon.
Elon's jumping.
Fist pumping after getting shot. Fight, fight, fight.
Young man, there's no need to feel down. I said,
He's dancing the Trump dance.
yourself off the ground. I said, young man, 'cause you're in a new town.
Wow. For those of you wondering, Elon's t-shirt read Occupy Mars. Think of what it must have taken, Andrew, for him to go back there and just get right back up and make a joke out of it, as I was saying when he turned his head.
You know, Elon Musk said this when he interviewed him on X and said, you know, it's just inspiring what he did. And that's something that a president should be, inspiring. And it makes me think back to when he got COVID and he stepped out on the balcony of the White House and took his mask off and the press dissolved in tears. I mean, it was, I thought one of the most shameful moments in American journalism was Jake Tapper saying, when Trump said, you don't have to be afraid of COVID, you shouldn't let it dominate your life. Jake Tapper said, no, you should be afraid and you should let it dominate your life. Well, they can't erase this. They can't erase the fact that somebody shot a bullet at this guy. It hit him in the ear, and he stood up and shook his fist. And, you know, Musk made a joke of it at the Butler reunion. He made a joke saying one president can't even get up a flight of stairs and the other president shakes his fist after getting shot. But, you know, there is something to that. It's not just rhetoric. I mean, you do want a president who is going to lead in attitude, not just in policy. And that is something, you know, I don't think we've had in quite a while, you know, the kind of FDR who stands up and says we have nothing to fear but fear itself. I think Trump embodies that, and he has proven that he is who he says he is. He is the tough guy and the brave guy that he says he is. And at this point, you can dislike him, but you can't disrespect him, because that is something that you do not see that often. You don't get a chance to see it that often. Somebody who reacts like that under fire. It really was an inspiring moment, and it's going to be an inspiring moment no matter how the left tries to push it down the memory hole.
That's one of the things he's talking about when he says, I'm going to protect women. He's talking about keeping us safe, keeping us and our children out of wars, trying not to get us bombed or killed by Iranians or their generals, or our sons and daughters killed in outposts. It takes that kind of strength to do those kinds of things, and also to project to the world, don't mess with us. You'll be sorry. Trust us. It's not going to go well for you. Biden has exactly the opposite projection, and it's gotten us into a lot of trouble. I think most people can see that. Elon Musk actually tweeted out a video of a young woman. I don't know her. I don't think she's a public person, talking about how she's a Democrat. She hated Trump. She believed all the narratives about him in the media. And it was actually COVID that started to turn her opinion around on the guy when she watched him come out and say exactly what you just said, Andrew. She recognized, though the media freaked out in response to his messaging, this is our leader who's trying to keep us calm and keep a positive attitude and maintain normalcy and not create a panic. You know, same as what we saw in Butler that day when he was still bleeding from his head.
Yeah, and I remember the press attacking anybody who said, you know, during COVID, there are worse things than death. But there are. Dishonor is worse, and cowardice is worse, and weakness in the face of true danger is worse. And the press wants us to forget that. They want to manipulate us. They want to use our fears to manipulate us, and they can't do it unless they can cause panic. They want us to panic over everything. The weather is a cause of panic. Whatever we do to to get energy out of the ground is a cause of panic. Everything is a cause of panic, because if we're panicked, they can control us. And to see a president take a bullet to the ear and stand up and shake his fist, that's the opposite. That's a calming thing. That makes you think, okay, somebody's in charge who can handle it when the 3 o'clock in the morning call comes. There's just no question that when Donald Trump brags that he will go to Putin and tell him, look, you're going to do certain things or you're going to have to deal with me, that is more impressive than Kamala Harris or Joe Biden doing it. When he says it to Iran, when he says it to China, you know they're listening. And when he hands a terrorist a picture of his house and says, we're going to drop a bomb on that house if you don't do what we want you to do, you're going to believe him, because he is who he says he is. That was an important moment. It wasn't just an inspiring one. It was an important moment and a defining moment for the Trump personality and for the Trump campaign.
At the same time, we get how many pieces on Mamala and what a wonderful stepmother she is and what a wonderful aunt she is, and no coverage of Trump's tender moments with his sons and his daughters or his grandkids, or this woman who is one of the paramedics who took care of Trump in the wake of the shooting in Butler. She spoke for a bit on Saturday, and it was really lovely. Here she is.
That evening, I witnessed a man with a deeply rooted bond with his family. I heard him speak with his wife, his children, and his grandchildren. He let them know that he was safe and that he was being taken care of. I heard his daughter say, "Only by the grace of God, you are here." The man that we all see on TV with the strong personality who sometimes doesn't mince for words, or who is seen as a wealthy, powerful businessman, was not the man that I stood beside that evening. What I saw was a man that, in the aftermath of one of the most terrifying experiences of his life, showed resiliency. He showed strength and courage. He showed that his family was at the forefront. He was a husband, a father, and a grandfather. He was compassionate and grateful. He was kind and humble. Several times I stood and stared at him with tears rolling down my cheeks. He was someone's dad. He's a human just like you and me. I held the hand of that man who sends out the mean tweets, and I thanked him for loving our country and fighting for our freedoms. He assured me that he is doing everything he can to save our country, and I believe this to be true now more than ever.
Wow. What do you make of it?
Well, you look at Trump's children and they really have turned out well. You don't have to like them, but they've turned out well. They're successful. And then you look at some other people's children, and maybe not so much. And I think that does say something. It does say something about a man. There's no question about it. Nobody's going to look at his marriage record and say, good for Donald Trump, he's been a great husband. But he obviously is a man who the people around him love him, and his kids love him and his grandkids love him. And that does say something about him. I mean, as a person, I think there's far more to him than the press wants us to see.
Mm-hmm. It's one thing if you're not going to make her into the mom. If you don't want to do either one of them, I'm fine with that. But if you're going to do it for the one, you got to take an honest look at the other. And Trump is a loving dad and granddad, and there's really no two ways around it. 4 years of crushing interest rates, runaway inflation, and reckless government spending. And who is paying the price? You are. You might have bills stacking up, debt collectors on your back, and you might be barely able to keep food on the table. Done with Debt can be a way out. They have developed new aggressive strategies designed to get you out of debt permanently without bankruptcy or loans. Done with Debt stands between you and your bill collectors. They can go head-to-head with creditors, getting balances reduced, interest rates slashed, and penalties stopped. They create a plan to end your debt fast and put more cash in your pocket every month. And right now, Done with Debt is accepting new clients, but you do need to act fast. Some credit relief programs expire. Before you even make another payment, consider a visit to donewithdebt.com or call 1-888-322-1054 right now. 1-888-322-1054 right now. Speak with one of their debt relief strategists for free. Go to donewithdebt.com. That's donewithdebt.com. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.